Hello, I'm Shai Vyakarnam. I'm director of the Bettany Center for Entrepreneurship at Cranfield University. And my work is really to unlock the entrepreneurial potential at this postgraduate university, working from the School of Management. Sure, I think one of the things we need to think about is that universities were invented in the first ever ones around the 8th century AD, right? And they've been going a long time. And if you take the one in Bologna, for example, that's been going, it's the first medieval university in Europe. It's a very, very long time for a particular, if you like, in modern language, business model to go. And the population has increased manyfold over. The economies at the moment are slightly flat on their face. We have political issues going on, massive migration. We therefore need to create new forms of education and learning, which is necessary to future-proof us, looking the next 50 or 100 years. And at the moment, I would say the universities look a little bit like 16th century institutions teaching maybe 19th century curriculum run by 20th century administration. And these things really are too expensive to run in the current way. We just need to find different ways of running them for their own sake. They need to innovate, otherwise they become the next tech company to fail. But also the other thing is, they're not necessarily providing students with the skill sets they need for the next 50, 100 years. The three most critical skills in the labor markets of the future, I would say the first one probably is learning to learn. In other words, whoever it is that's learned current skills need to somehow remain open and willing to keep on learning as the world keeps changing, technologies keep changing. As they keep getting older and living longer, they need to keep adapting to the things that will happen to them. So the labor market and the person themselves need to be able to learn to learn. I would say that is probably the highest meta level piece they need to do. The second thing would be to gain a domain expertise, mastery of some subject. Let me oversimplify this for sake of discussion. It could be mathematics or physics, it could be chemistry or biology, it could be engineering or satellites or rockets or whatever it is. Become an expert in one particular domain area in which you can make a difference. Right? So in my case, I suppose it's entrepreneurship has been my passion for the last 25 years. I understand it, I get it, and I love it. And so that's a kind of mastery in that sense. And the third area would be a common set of social skills which enable us to communicate with different communities, whichever country, nationality, religion, or wherever they're from, and to build teams, to be within companies, to be agile. So if you like, social skills are hugely relevant at all times. Okay, so I think one of the key things I've learned in entrepreneurship education is we have, over the last 20 years, been developing education for entrepreneurship, distinct from about entrepreneurship. And I would say that probably in most disciplines now, we need to be looking at this combination of about and for the topics. So in the same way that we train doctors, medical doctors with theory and practice, lawyers get trained theory and practice. So I suspect, for example, for industry, which needs talent and skills, they keep crying out, if industry is going to drive the engine of sustainable growth in the future, they too need skills. And the best way to teach people how to do this is by enabling them to do it. So we will do some theory in the context of institutions like universities and higher education institutions, but hopefully team up very closely with industry in some kind of internship, apprenticeship type models where they learn to do it. So just like a doctor has both theory in the university and practice in hospital, so I hope we can partner between these institutions to provide young people of the future the skills they need. So the Kotka vision is a really interesting one because here we have a city that is marine on one side and land on the other side. It's kind of partly isolated as a result of that, but also hugely connected at the same time by the people that are there who are connected globally to resources in Europe, in Asia, in the US and so forth. Brings fresh ideas to a place like Kotka. And Kotka is reviving itself brilliantly by looking at how to develop the skills and not just building some big fancy buildings. So while we do need physical infrastructure to go in, we also need some vision for the future of how the young people there can stay, be motivated to develop it and make a vibrant environment. So In the first instance, I suppose that what should happen is the young people should work with the local companies in some way, but equally be encouraged to develop huge vision of their own through things like SHIP as the festival arises, where they can maybe create something locally that has global meaning. I'm very keen on the idea of the education systems of Finland, the healthcare systems, the way nurses are trained, that these are leverage to make a difference around the world. And the talent pool exists there. Now it's just a matter of connecting the dots and helping it to happen.